Hello friends and welcome back to the RaoMoon Oracle. I'm Rao, and today we have another pick a group reading. I wanted to do an advice reading today for everyone. I know in our lives sometimes we are aware of what is going on deep inside ourselves. We are aware of what's going on in the situation, but we don't always know how to move forward. And this is where that advice comes in. So today for advice, we are asking the Animal Spirit deck from the Wild Unknown by Kim Krans. I want to pick 2 cards for each group, so there's a little bit of an option for how to proceed forward in our given situations. Unsurprisingly, there's going to be a lot of animal symbolism, obviously from the name of the deck, and if I feel called to do so, I will pull more information from the Animal Speak book by Ted Andrews. This is a really good book. I love this big boy a lot. It's a good one. So hopefully we get a lot of in-depth symbolism, with some really good meaning and some really good advice coming from all of that. So now let's hop over to the stones and you can pick your group for today. I'll see you there. Bye.
And here we have our 4 stones to pick from. So you may end up picking more than one group depending on the situation you're asking advice for. Just keep your situation really clear in your mind that you're seeking advice about, and I'll give you a closer look at our stones now. So group number 1 is going to be the Shungite stone. Very matte black with some kind of silvery scratches on it. This is group number 1. Group number 2 is going to be the Rubellite, also known as red tourmaline sometimes, or Rubellite in quartz. This one's one of my favorites. We got that white, that gray, and kind of that pinky red color. Here's the back side. This is group number 2, the Rubellite. Group number 3 is the Merlinite stone, also another favorite in my collection. There's that back side. Give you guys nice real close-up looks on all of them. And last but not least is our Bloodstone here. This one's quite reflective. You can kind of see the camera a little bit in it. We got that red on the top there. The back side, a very kind of dark green. That is the Bloodstone for group number 4. So use whatever method you'd like to figure out what group you're drawn to. Ask your heart, your intuition, muscle test, pendulum, whatever else you need, but just try and keep that situation really clear in your mind when you're asking for that advice so you can pick the most accurate group for yourself. Pause the video if you need to, but then join me in your group when you're ready. I'll see you there. Bye. Hello, group number 1, the Shungite stone. So Shungite, in our rock knowledge, is a very purifying stone on multiple levels, and it can work as an energetic shield. With its black color, it's also a very grounding stone, and it'll take us back into our roots through the root chakra because of that black color, and help us to connect to what really matters in our lives. Purifying ourselves, reconnecting to what really matters, gives us a very strong foundation and move forward in our lives. So hopefully the stone information is beneficial to you. And now let us take a look and see what the Animal Spirit deck has for advice for you. Okay. So we're going to get 2 cards for advice for you today. So let's see. Animal Spirit deck for group number 1, the Shungite Group. Oh, too many cards, please. 1 card for now, and then 1 more. What advice does group 1 need to have about their situation? What advice would be helpful for group 1 for their situation? 1 card, please. 1 card, please. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Maybe we'll take that one. And 1 more. 1 more, please. 1 more. Thank you. Okay. So we have the moth and we have the spider. Very interesting. Okay. Both insect energies, but they're coming from different elemental areas, right? So the spider here is an earth element card, and then the moth here is an air element. So we have that countering kind of opposite energies. But unfortunately, what I wanted initially when I started this concept for this video series, is I wanted to get 2 different cards and kind of give 2 paths for advice. Give that kind of like, okay, you could do this or this. So you had kind of like an option to figure out what you wanted to do. However, the cards had a different idea in mind, and the energy that we are getting is actually very similar in this case for spider and moth. The spider is a creator energy. We see the creation of the web, of course, here, so a lot of big creation energy there. The spider is also a, in like mythologies, is a creative force, creator force for many different cultures and religions. So our spider here has created this beautiful web, this beautiful rainbowing color here. Our moth, on the other hand, does not have the same kind of color and creativity to it. So something interesting to note for these cards, I think, is that the spider itself here is not colored. It doesn't have the color in it, but what it does create is colorful. There is color in the moth, not the same extent of color that the spider web has, and it is surrounded by a lack of color here. So the moth, from what I'm feeling, is looking for energy and looking for its purpose outside of itself. The spider is creating its purpose here, right? The spider energy tells us to enjoy the process. There is a big goal in mind, obviously, a big piece of creation that comes from it, but it is to enjoy the process while we're doing it, right? The moth, on the other hand, is a very kind of flighty energy, and the moth is just going towards the light, going towards the easiest solution, going towards the easiest path that it has the option to. It can get itself into really odd places sometimes. It's interesting to see where moths can end up as they're chasing that light, but it is done very unintentionally. It is not done with purpose. It is not done with a focused energy. I know sometimes I have closed my door because there's been a moth in the hallway and made sure not to turn a light on because I didn't want the moth to end up in my room. And the minute I do turn a light on, it does somehow find the entry into my room through that crack underneath the door to find that light. And it is stubborn and funny that way. But it is done very purposelessly to just find the light. It is not done with very dedicated and intentional means like the spider does, making its web, right? The spider's making its web in order to catch prey, in order to keep itself sustained. I think that's a really important piece of energy here in the spider card, right? The spider makes its web in order to help sustain itself. It does it for itself. It makes this beautiful web that is we appreciate on the outside as human beings, as an outside force. That is very beautiful, but it is for the spider's subsistence. It's for the spider to help take care of itself. So in the situation we're looking for, right, how it ties into our Shungite stone here. Shungite, again, is that purifying energy. It brings that purification into our lives so we can just really get back down to the roots, the core of what we're trying to do. We are more in the moth energy than we should be, right? We are flighty, we are whimsical, we're energetic maybe, but it's also we do not have purpose in our lives right now. We do not have a purpose and a goal that we are working towards. We are not being deliberate. We are not enjoying the process. And we need to have more spider energy in our lives, more grounded earth energy versus our air energy over here. We need to ground ourselves more. Again, this Shungite energy, right, with that black coloring. We need to ground ourselves more and look at our process, look at our goals, and see the enjoyment, the fulfillment in life of just living, of just enjoying life itself. So for me, in terms of making these videos, potentially, right, it's something I enjoy doing. I need to enjoy the filming process. I need to enjoy the editing process and not just the end goal of posting the video or seeing the comments on this video, right? I need to enjoy the full process of it and this building of it in order to, and how it ends up sustaining me through this bigger creativity process. The spider's advice in the Animal Spirit book is to have some playful creativity And we do that through something silly, maybe. So something that came to mind is finger painting. When was the last time you finger painted, right? We think, look at that as a child's activity, but why can't we do it, right? It's something creative, it's something fun. Go take a walk and find some rocks and come home and paint them. Something like that, right? You find that creativity again, and that fire, that drive, that thing that pulls out this rainbow in you, right? So even better if it's something we can finish that is a creative project, right? Something that is fun and playful at the same time, and super creative, and getting this moth energy taken care of by finishing that project. Maybe we wrote a song and we have the lyrics, but we haven't put it to a melody yet. We haven't found the chords to play on our guitar yet. Something deep and creative like that, right? But it's also that ability to finish a project, that accomplishment you feel from finishing something you've been working on, gives you a lot of big motivation to keep moving forward, right? Seeing this rainbow that you've made from the spider card. So the spider card talks about bringing our energy back in balance through playful creativity, and the moth talks about bringing our energy back into balance through finishing a project. And we definitely want to help balance these energies, and that is what also the Shungite calls for. So that is that calling back to grounding ourselves, to finding again what really, really matters in our lives, purifying our lives, and shielding ourselves from things that do not matter, things that we don't want around us. I think that is really, really important here, right? So let's see, anything else for our spider and moth here? I think it's interesting to note that the spider would eat the moth, right? So if our moth is flying aimlessly, it is not paying attention to where it's going, it could end up in the spider's web and be eaten from it. So that is where kind of our like carelessness, recklessness comes in here. We can get caught up in a web that we don't want to be, something very detrimental to us if we're not focused and paying attention, if we don't have more of the energy of the spider, right? If that's deliberate intention, that deliberate focus, and enjoying the process while we're at it. So I think that's something to kind of interesting to keep in mind. As well, the moth can end up very interesting places. It can also get itself in bad situations at the same time. So just something to keep in mind there. Advice we have for our situations here, right? So whatever situation we are dealing with, we need to strip some things out of our lives. We need to purify our lives. So taking that person out of our lives that has been bringing us down, that negativity, that energetic vampire potentially. We need to strip ourselves of anything that is not going to be beneficial to us, that is not, and get back to our ground, get back to our roots, get back to the foundation of what we really care about, what we really want to do, what we are passionate about, what brings out our creativity and enthusiasm, and build from that. Get some Shungite if you need to help protect yourself, to help keep your energy grounded, and to help keep purifying, and also protect yourself at the same time with it. But start looking at your life deeper and purify and work towards that. Okay, group number 1, that is all I have for you. If you want some more advice, please feel free to pick another group in this video. If you have a different situation to ask about, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe if this reading has been helpful to you. Thank you for being open to the channeled energy today, and thank you to your guides and my guides for protecting us all while we connect. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you another time. Bye. Hello, group number 2, the Rubellite Group. So Rubellite, or red tourmaline, Rubellite in quartz, whatever you want to call it. Rubellite is strong in the root chakra with kind of our like gray, red kind of coloring it has. And then it's also good in the heart chakra because it has these like pinky colors in it. Certain stones also have a lot of white in it, which like mine does right here, which takes that energy up into the crown chakra. The stimulation of all these chakras help move that energy up through the chakras, and that helps give life force to the whole body. It's a stone of love while being connected to earth and being connected to spirit all at once. So hopefully this information is beneficial to some of you at least. And now let us see what the Animal Spirit deck has for advice for you. Okay. Animal Spirit deck for group number 2, the Rubellite Group. What advice do we have? Advice for the Rubellite Group. Oop. Let's see. Too much. Also, I'll move this up real quick. I did see one. We'll see if it comes back out, though. Advice for the Rubellite Group. 1 card at a time, please. 2 max. 2 max. One. That'll do. That will do. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got. We have the mouse. And golden egg. Ooh, congrats, group number 2. You are my first spirit card. Okay. So real quick for our group here. So there's elemental symbols, alchemy elemental symbols at the top of these cards here. So the mouse card is an earth card with our little upside down triangle through a line. And then instead of being one of the other 3 elements here, we have our circle, which is going to be a spirit card. So a separate category in the animal spirit deck. So this one is gonna be very important, I think, to read. But let me read you the key words from the mouse, and we'll look at the golden egg here in a second too. Okay, so keywords for our mouse card here: detail-oriented, small-minded, nitpicky, nervous. Our golden egg here kind of has a little bit of keywording at the top. So it says message at the center of the heart, the unstruck sound. So I think that's interesting here, of course, because we have our heartstone at the top here, Rubellite. Okay, group 2, I had to take a break. I filmed a little bit of the beginning of your group, but I just had to take a break because it was really hard to figure out what the energy was telling me for your group and another group as well. But coming back to it now and kind of reading through again and looking at it, it feels like we have something we know in our heart we are supposed to be doing, but we are in this mouse energy right now. We're very fearful of what's happening. We're fearful of life. We are scurrying around and going from this to that because the big thing, the very big thing in our life is what's scaring us, right? And the advice of the mouse is to focus on a deep, meaningful project, something big and something that really is true to our core. When we're in this mouse energy, we're very nitpicky. We're very again, just the word nervous keeps coming back. We're just very nervous. We are just moving around, trying to pay attention to every little detail, but that's not what matters. What matters is those big projects, those big ideas. And what we need to do is we need to switch back in and kind of be prepared. What the golden egg is here in this case is that deep connection back into our heart, back into kind of what this Rubellite represents as well, that deep heart energy and connecting back down. So in terms of the Rubellite, right, we're missing some of this grounding energy that the stone has. We're missing some of the kind of deeper root chakra energy that comes with the blacks and the browns and color theory. That's what the mouse is missing here. It's not grounded energy, and when it's not grounded energy, we can't focus on our golden egg here, our big project, our big goals in life, because we're too scared to do anything about it, right? The golden egg card, in terms of its description in these spirit cards, there's 7 of them, and this one is representative of the heart chakra, which I think is very interesting considering the stone we have, right? So it requires us to go into that heart space, to go into it deep into ourselves and figure out what's going on, that deep contemplation, because obviously the mouse here is not responding to nothing. There's something we're scared of in this situation here. There's something we're scared of. Because the mouse, when it's safe, it's not nitpicking, it's not nervous, it's going about its day, and yes, it's very detail oriented and taking care of small things, and it does scurry around. That is what a mouse does. But a mouse can quickly turn fearful, right? And a mouse does not respond unless there's something to be scared of. And that's what we have in this situation. That's what it feels like. I think why it was harder to kind of connect to the energy for me earlier, where we have something we're very, very scared of. And it's okay, I get that. I get that a lot, trust me. So it's really like going in and listening to our heart in this case, right? It's listening to our heart here and doing that deep introspection, that deep spiritual work, and diving deep into ourselves, figuring out what we're scared of, figuring out what's going on with us in order to finally move out of this energy and open up this golden egg here, right? That's what it's calling us to do. That's what it wants us to do. We need more stability in our lives in order to do that, and that's kind of the advice that I'm picking up. It's not quite the advice of the mouse card here, which is talking about like a big, like doing a big project or finishing a project. What I'm feeling more so is the need for more grounding energy in our lives, to do something deeply grounding, so that way we don't feel scared anymore. Because that's what we have to deal with. We have to deal with that fear in order to move forward finally move forward. Grounding things we can do. So grounding stones are going to be our blacks, browns, reds, those deep like earthy colors, right? Red's our root chakra, and so that's a grounding color, that's a grounding energy. Any of those stones that have that red coloring to them. Black stones too are also very grounding because of that. So a stone that I showed earlier, for another group, you might have some messages in the Shungite group, because that is a black grounding protective stone, and I think that is some of the energy that this mouse energy needs here in order to open up our golden egg. We need some more grounding, like healing energy, so we're not scared of ourselves. We're not scared of ourselves, and we're not scared of what we're capable of and what this golden egg represents, because this is just its full potential, right? The golden egg is the ultimate. That's that piece. That is we talk about the golden goose, right? That is the thing that's going to make you money. That's the thing that's going to make you happy. That's the experience that you've been wanting to go on the whole time. It's like it's your to the top tier dreams. The biggest thing you can imagine that you want to accomplish is what that golden egg is, right? And this, like, what's truly deep inside our hearts here. According to the animal spirit book, right, for this description, in order to open up this golden egg, we need quiet, we need peace, we need rejuvenation, because it's not something that can be rushed. And in order to do that, in order to do this, right, we have to stop being scared. We have to stop being scared. And let this mouse energy do it in the right way, right? So, sorry, this is an interesting energy kind of process and to think through. We hid this away, right? So the mouse and the others, kind of similar in the species, right? Where it's like you kind of hide things away. For some reason, I'm thinking squirrels too, right? And hiding, that's why we see all this like grass and kind of like a nest around this, right? It seems like this egg is hidden away, and it's hidden away deep inside ourselves. And it is something that we need to nurture and give space for in order for it to open up, in order for it to grow and hatch, in this case, because it's an egg, right? But first we do that by not being scared of it. We do that by not being scared of it. Huh. Sorry, group 2. My hands on my heart right now, and I feel a lot of this mouse energy here. I feel very nervous myself, and it's very interesting to deal with. Very interesting to think through.
like I was saying earlier, think through and process. Whew. Okay, first thing I can think of, group 2, just you need to do some grounding, right? So get your feet into some like bare grass or in the dirt or something. Do something that's deeply grounding in order to like help release some of this fear we have inside of us, right? That's what we need to let go of. So grounding helps. There is, I think this is my personal advice I'm giving because it's just going to be more important to work through, right? So what I feel is more important. So something to do when this fear comes up, right? When this deep nervousness, this worry, and when it comes up to fear, there's some holds, finger holds and jinshin, a type of energy healing similar to like Reiki that you can do. So our thumb is for worry and our pointer finger is for fear. So if you just hold your finger like this, right? And in your thumbs, you'll feel it because it's just kind of natural. There should be a pulse in your finger, in your thumb. It's unlikely you'll feel pulses in your other fingers normally. That's your actual like blood pulse, right? But you'll feel an energetic pulse, and I say pulse because it feels very similar to that. So you might not feel it in your fingers at first, but when you start feeling a pulse, you want it to just be nice and even. And that's kind of like your goals. If you have a pulse that's going too fast in the finger, get it down to slow down so it's something nice and even. If there's not a pulse, then for it to come back up into a nice even pulse, right? It's kind of hard to describe. If somebody's more interested in this, I can give you some advice if you're interested and want to message me. But I'm doing this right now to kind of help dissipate this nervous energy that this group has, right? So hopefully it'll help you too. But so yeah, our pointer fingers are for fear and our thumbs are for worry. And that's kind of the energy we need to let go in this group. A lot of fear we have, a lot of worry we have. Okay. Ooh, okay, that helped a little bit. But yeah, so thumbs, worry, pointer fingers, fear. Just hold them just like I was doing like this. Just hold it, and that'll help ground out some of that energy, process through some of that fear, okay? Okay, group 2, I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense to some people. This was a very interesting group to read for. It was kind of difficult, honestly, but hopefully this is helpful to some people. Again, some grounding stones are going to be helpful. Actual like grounding, like putting your feet in grass and dirt is going to be helpful as well to help kind of dispel that fear. Journaling helps me frequently a lot in that kind of aspect too. Talk to somebody if you have to, and work through those jinshin holds. There's a couple things there. Hopefully that'll help this group out in this situation. So hopefully this helps, and feel free to message me if you need some more advice in particular for this group, okay? But group 2, that's all I have for you. If you want some more advice, please feel free to pick another group in this video. The Shungite group might be particularly helpful for you, or just another group, and if you have another situation to ask about, okay? Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if this reading has helped you. Thank you for being open to the channeled energy today, and thank you to your guides and my guides for protecting us all while we connect. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you another time. Bye. Hello, group number 3, the Merlinite stone. So Merlinite is magic, magic, magic. It helps with healing and to balance our polarities. It's the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine, the conscious and subconscious, earth and spirits, those polarities, those dichotomies. So this is a stone for any magic in your life that you're maybe trying to do. Rituals, the shaman practice, alchemy, witchcraft. With its connection to magic, it is a stone of synchronicity as well. So hopefully that is helpful. Just some quick information on the stone. So now let us take a look and see what the Animal Spirit deck has for advice for you. Okay. Animal Spirit deck. Let's just clear it real quick. Okay. Animal Spirit deck, what advice does group 3 need on their situation? One card to start, please. What advice does group 3 need on their situation? Merlinite Stone group. One card, please.
Jack is very enthusiastic. One card, please. One card, please. The 2 to start. Okay, that's fine. That will do. Okay, so we have Crow. And we have Lion. Okay. Well, group number 3, as I've gotten through these readings, kind of the start and been practicing, I thought that pulling 2 cards was going to give you 2 options for advice, kind of like a this or that. Either would be helpful, but they so far have tended to tie into each other. Okay, so for our cards here, we see our elements on the top here. So the Crow is an air elements card, and then the Lion is going to be a fire elements card. So real quick, I do want to read the descriptions for the Crow because it's just too funny to pass up because it ties in so well with our Merlinite stone. So the Crow's keywords are spiritually strong, creative, and watchful. The Crow has long been a symbol of magic. A Crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen, knowing the unknown. It is said that the Crow holds within its mind's eye the 3 realities, past, present, and future. Crow energy is potent and should be only tapped into when the mind is clear. Those with Crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. So I just thought that was really funny because we have a lot of magic connection here, right? So with the orb that the Crow is holding on the bottom here. Okay, well, obviously the Crow just ties in super, super well with our Merlinite stone here too, right? But our Lion does as well, and I was looking at its description, and I do want to read that out for you as well. I haven't read the descriptions out for other groups so far, so I just think it's important with yours because they just tie in so well. So our Lion here, the keywords are patient, regal, a complete master. So the Lion is a master of the fire elements. Side note real quick, so our fire again is that magic element, it's that creative element. So the Lion is the master of the fire elements and the living mascot of self-transformation. A Lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Therefore, the Lion is respected by all but known intimately by few. Some mistake the Lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precision in their words and actions. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins. No matter where our quest begins. Something that's just interesting to note for these 2 cards, right? So the animal spirit book gives a little bit of advice at the bottom, which is kind of what prompted this whole reading for me in the first place. Meditation is listed for both of these cards. Daily meditation is listed for both of these cards, and I think that is a super important aspect to note for this group. So this group feels like my deep spiritual group, the group that might be going through the dark night of the soul, that might have discovered spirituality after an encounter with their twin flame, that maybe discovered some type of witchcraft or shamanism in their past, in their family history, and has started to like dive down into it, right? So we just have a recognition of the power we have and the spirituality and the magic that is available to us, and we are starting to cultivate that more and more, and we need to keep doing that and dive deeper into that. With these abilities and powers, Spider-Man notion comes a lot of responsibility, obviously, but what's also important there is for the fact that as we access these gifts, as we learn about these gifts, we need to really take care of ourselves, and that is why that meditation is so important, right? We do not want to overwhelm ourselves with our psychic abilities. We do not want to get headaches. We do not want to be fatigued and exhausted because we're dealing with other people's energies, because we haven't gotten control over our empathic nature here. So that is where that Lion comes in for that self-mastery, right? That real, like, taking control, making sure we are strong and regal and able to handle the power we have, handle this psychic spiritual energy, this magic we have. I think that's why this Lion is showed up with the Crow in here. is that it's the lion energy, that strong energy that is going to allow us to hold the energy that the crow has. That ability to see the past, present, future, that ability to deal with the polarities that the Merlinite stone talks about, with the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, the day and night, the earth and spirit, right? It is the combination of all those, integrating all those aspects of ourselves, that is really, really important for these two cards. They also feed each other, right? So they are not opposite in terms of elemental energies like other cards. Elementally, these cards also feed each other, right? They're not opposites. We have an air card and we have a fire card, and the air feeds the fire, helps it grow stronger, and the fire helps heat up the air so that it can change and move and flex and do different things, and heats up other elements so that they become air. So these two cards, they're not opposing each other in any capacity, which I think is also interesting to note. They feed into each other. So this crow energy, I've talked about how the lion energy helps us balance this crow energy, but the crow energy helps feed into this lion energy as well. Talking about the wind fanning the flames, right? Fanning our fire. The crow energy here, with that psychic energy, right, that shows that there's more to learn, that helps us to figure out that we have abilities, we have magic in us, and that drives us to this mastery process, that drives us into this self-mastery and becoming this regal, kind of mysterious, sometimes aloof in a bad way, energy of the lion, right? It's the discovery of this ability first in the crow that leads us into this lion energy, and why we have to master it. We want to be able to use our abilities to the fullest extent. We don't want our abilities to overwhelm us, but that precludes the fact that we have abilities, right? So that's how these two cards tie into each other, and I think that's very interesting. Let's see, what else? This is a powerful group. Just all y'all watching this, you guys are a powerful group. Y'all are very, very powerful. I think it's amazing how much it ties in. This whole thing ties in with the Merlinite stone, with these cards. So this group is the one that's on a spiritual journey. I'm there with you. I'm there with all you. There's a lot going on, right? It's a continuous process, and it's a continued self-mastery, self-transformation. As you go through this big spiritual journey, learning whatever gifts you have, learning the abilities, doing these rituals, doing these practices, this magic. There's a lot to it, but we could become better and stronger for it, right? Our intuition becomes stronger. We are able to make better choices about certain situations. So that's a little bit of advice for this group as well, right? Is to trust in your abilities here, the trust in the abilities you have, and cultivate them through that daily meditation. Cultivate your abilities, because they are important. They are super, super important to have. It's going to help you handle the world easier in a lot of ways, even though it can make the world more difficult in other ways. Feeling other people's emotions, not fun at all. I like people less and less as time goes on, I feel like, because I can feel the emotions in the space I'm in, and it could be exhausting until I learned how to kind of channel it properly, until I learned how to block it properly, shield myself properly. I was so tired all the time. I still get that way sometimes if I'm not conscious and not keeping up on my practice and keeping up on that meditation, keeping myself strong and keeping my abilities tight. I get tired, right? I get tired, I get fatigued, I get sad for no reason. I remember that early on too. I just get so sad for no reason sometimes. I've developed a lot of self-awareness over the years, and I think that was important to realize when emotions were not my own. And once I was like, why am I sad? I have no reason to be sad. I didn't listen to a sad song that reminded me of something. I wasn't thinking about a person I miss. The sadness came up for no reason. And then I realized it wasn't mine. The emotion was not mine. And then that awareness, developing that awareness, allowed me to change what I was doing and block it, and figure out how to shield from it and grow from it. So I was able to have this ability without it overwhelming me, without it hurting me, being strong in it instead. And I think that is super important for this group, for anybody that's picked this as their group. So with our crow energy here, also just something to keep in mind. So the crow is a very smart bird. So that is knowing what your resources are, being educated and intelligent with your abilities as well. So part of that daily meditation, right, and that practice is to figure out what resources you have. So maybe you have shamanism in your family, right? And it's like find that teacher, find that book, find those resources to help you learn more, because that helps you cultivate your power and be stronger in it as well. So yeah, find mentors, find books, find podcasts, find videos, find what you need in order to learn about the abilities that you are working with. The magic you're working with, the rituals you're working with, and just be very informed, because that structure, while you can eventually step away from it as you are good in your craft, that structure is what keeps you safe to start with. Those boundaries, that's what keeps you safe. That's why a teacher is super important, so you don't get lost while you're astral projecting for the first time, right? Or you don't encounter something that you don't know how to handle. Of course, we always have our guides and other beings that help protect us, of course. But we can do more by making sure we are smart in how we are accessing and learning about our abilities, our intuition, our magic. And that is also part of the self-transformation process, self-discovery process here. So just something else I just wanted to touch on real quick is just that use your resources, figure out what you can read, figure out what you can access, so that you are just as safe as you can possibly be as you work with your deeper spiritual energies, deeper magic, okay? So group 3, that is all I have for you. If you want some more advice, feel free to pick another group in this video. If you have a different situation to ask about, feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe if this reading was helpful to you. Thank you to being open to the channeled energy today, and thank you to your guides and my guides for protecting us all while we connect. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you another time. Bye! Hello, group number 4, the Bloodstone Group. So Bloodstone helps us to have the courage to be here in the here and now. Living presently also makes decision making easier on us and helps to dispel confusion in our lives. It helps us to renew and revitalize our states, the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all those ones. So this renewal helps us with our relationships and love and friendship while giving us the courage to live from the heart. So hopefully this information about the stone is beneficial to some of you. So now let us get into the Animal Spirit deck and see what advice it has for you. Put this up there. Okay. Animal Spirit deck. What advice do we have for our Bloodstone group? Animal Spirit deck, what advice do we have for the Bloodstone group? 2 cards, please, one at a time, hopefully. One more, please, for our Bloodstone group. Advice for our Bloodstone group. Oh, we have one that flipped in there. Okay. Okay. So the Swan. And the Crocodile. Ooh, look at this water energy. Okay. So our alchemy elemental symbols on the top right here, we see in these triangles, this is both water energy for these cards, water cards. Okay, let us see real quick. I do want to read our keywords for these cards. I think it's important to just kind of get it started. So our crocodile. Crocodile is, keywords are resting, submerging, collecting energy, cooling off. And then the swan. Swan is effortlessly creativity, sensitive, mystic, elegant, power. Okay, group number 4. I actually had to take a bit of a break in your reading. The day I was working on the readings initially, there was, I guess I wasn't in the best state of mind for them, so I was able to kind of get through, but your reading, your group was just kind of hard to really like get in with the energy. After kind of like looking through the cards more and kind of taking a break myself, I think that kind of probably makes sense for where this group is here. We're dealing with a lot of water energy here, right? For the situation we're asking advice on, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of depth to it. And both of these cards kind of ask us to look at that, look at those deeper emotions, right? So our crocodile here, crocodile, alligator. The crocodile is immersed in water. It's both a land creature and a water creature. It lives its life in both. A crocodile will lay its eggs on land, but obviously spends most of its time in the water hunting for its meals and moving around, protecting its territory, right? So that immersion in the water, there is a stillness there, which I think is also reflected by the swan as well. So just taking the time to kind of go back deeper into our emotions, to sit with them, to be still with them, right? To not really like disturb them. When I look at the imagery and like think about both of these animals, I see a crocodile with it just being very still in the water, the nose just above it, just sitting very calm. And then for like the swan, I think of like that smooth glide through the water. With these two, I think of that like the stillness of water, right? With crocodile, I think of when it's like it's like sitting in the water with its snout kind of just above, sitting very still, very quietly, not moving the water it's in. And same thing for the swan, like moving very gracefully, very still through the water, just very gentle and peaceful, right? There is a gentle and peaceful energy in terms of both of these cards, but there's also a ferocity at the same time. The crocodile is very protective of its young. Obviously, there's a lot of power contained within that animal imagery. And the swan's no joke too, man. The swan is swans can be mean. Swans can be a very, very mean card. They're beautiful and elegant, but they hold a lot of power as well. And we can just see with like some of this water imagery here with that kind of like that mirror reflection kind of going on, right? So for in terms of the situation and the advice, we need to go deeper inside ourselves. We need to kind of go into those depths, into those waters, and just sit still with it, really kind of be immersed in those emotions and really just take stock of what's going on with ourselves. Be involved in that quiet, that stillness, that peacefulness, and kind of reevaluate what is going on in the situation and for advice here. See what we need to actually do. Both of these cards are asking us to take time and be with ourselves, just by ourselves, take that solo time. In terms of like other cards, it'd be like the hermit energy, to just like hermit ourselves away, be somewhere still within ourselves in water, in order to access some of this water energy. Maybe you want to take a bath, maybe you want to go to the lake or the ocean, somewhere where there is a lot of water, and you can kind of engage in that water energy that these cards are representing here, right? Because once we get through like this kind of like reflective energy and peace that the swan kind of talks about, that's when we can pop out of the water at any moment given notice, right? For the crocodile, sit in peace with the water and calm and reflect, and then jump forward in that situation. We know we figured out what's going on, we figured out what we're doing, and then we can move forward with aggression, with ferocity. Is representative of the crocodile energy here, right? What else here? I think in terms of tying it back into the Bloodstone here, right? That is where we're dispelling this confusion, and that's kind of what Bloodstone works at doing too. In that little description I gave you for what each of the stones mean, and what Bloodstone means specifically, Bloodstone is helping us live presently, right? And that helps make our decision-making process easier and helps dispel confusion by living in the moment. So we have we have a lot of feelings here. We have a lot of emotions here. That's why we have double water here as well, right? And it's represented in these cards. We see it in the reflection here of the swan with all this kind of blue coloring. And we see what looks like kind of rain on the top here and water on the bottom for both of these, for this card. So there's a lot of emotions going on here, and we have to step back, take stock of what's going on. We have to step back and take stock of what's going on here and really just be present in what we are feeling, be present in the emotions that we are having in order to move forward finally, in order to see what's going on. In terms of like bird imagery, right? You usually see the smooth gliding of the bird across the water, right? But underneath, those feet are paddling. Those feet are like moving really, really fast and paddling pretty hard sometimes, right? There has to be movement, even though it seems really smooth and effortless on the top. And that's us by going inside and hermiting ourselves. That's how we revitalize our energy, right? And that's what the Bloodstone is talking about as well. So we can live more presently. We can look at our life and renew things that we need to renew our state of minds. We can renew ourselves and our energy and be present again finally in our lives versus these all staying, right? Because if we're not paying attention to what's going on and we're thrown into the deep end of these emotions, right? We don't want to drown. We don't want to be stuck and get lost in it, depending on how deep this water goes here, right? We want to really know what's going on and live in this water energy in these animals that have access to the water, because both of these animals, they don't live their lives completely in the water, but they are very strong water animals at the same time, right? Crocodile, like we were saying, is both a land and water animal. It lays its eggs on the shore. And both of these animals don't live their lives completely just in the water. They're not fish, right? So a crocodile, like I was saying, it's a land animal as well, where it'll go up on the shore to get sun, to lay its eggs, sometimes to hunt food as well, even though it lives most of its life in the water as well. The swan, obviously, it's a bird, so it can fly, it can move. A lot of birds migrate that also live in the water. The swan does not live its life slowly in the water, but it finds its food there. It's perches there, it rests there, it's does a lot of things in the water, but it is not just a water animal as well. So that they both visit the water, are involved in the water, sit in the water, interact with the water, live in the water to a certain extent, but they don't stay there all the time either, right? They don't stay there the whole time. So there's a balancing act there, right? Where we haven't spent the time we need in the water, right? These animals don't live solely in one environment. They use both. So they come back and visit and interact and move through and have parts of their lives that are solely based in the water. And that's kind of what we need to come back to in this situation in our lives, where it's like, okay, we need to come back in terms of our water being emotions, right? We need to come back to our emotions. We need to come back and be in those emotions, live through them, feel through them. I know it can be hard sometimes too, but it's that part of that process is feelings don't go away until they are recognized and until they are dealt with. So we have to feel those feelings in order to help process and finally move on from them. So in the situation that you're asking advice for, that's what we need to do, right? We need to go into our feelings, rest, hermit ourselves away a little bit, figure out what we're feeling, what's going on with ourselves. Take that solo time and rejuvenate ourselves, and then we can look at our situation more clearly, without any confusion, and move forward with a decision, right? And get some Bloodstone if you need to. It'll help with that decision-making process. It'll help with the confidence to move forward in that decision. And interact with some water. Drink a lot of water for sure. That's always good when you're dealing with emotions, to help just them move through the body and not get stuck. Again, take a bath, go play in a lake, go play in the ocean, something with water, right? I think that'll be beneficial. So group 4, sorry again, I had to come back to your group because it was just a hard energy to connect to and kind of figure out what I was feeling at the time. And I don't know, maybe this was the group I needed too. It might have been some of my energy getting stuck in me as I was trying to channel what was going on here. So hope this helped you out. So that is all I have for you. If you want more advice, feel free to pick another group in this video, or if you have a different situation to ask for, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe if this reading has helped you. Thank you for being open to the channeled energy today, and thank you to your guides and my guides for protecting us all while we connect. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you another time. Bye.